Hello. Hi everyone. I'm doing the live a little bit early today because I have to bring my dog to the vet just later, so in a little while. So I thought I'd come in early, so at least that's done and I don't have to rush after coming back to do it. Hope everyone is good and you're having a great day, great start of the week. So today's topic is praising children. We're going to talk about, is praising children a good thing or a bad thing? So I am a big fan of positive reinforcement, and this has been sort of part of my strategy when I was a special needs teacher. So when I first came along with when I first heard that praising children could be a bad thing, I first totally rejected that idea. I mean, how can you like tell a child some like good things and praise them and tell them how great they are and how cool they are, and how can that be a bad thing? So yeah, when I first came across sort of those first thought, I just completely rejected it. I mean, it just was not possible in my mind. So but these kind of thoughts or people commenting on it, or it kind of kept coming back, and at some point Yes, exactly, Sonia. That's part of my tips. Yeah, thanks. Sonia just put a little comment saying praise the action, not the child, and that's exactly what we are going to talk about today. Because, yeah, that's the thing. The more I researched and the more that I sort of went to look into that topic, I realized that praise was not equal, and that a lot of time we don't praise our children in a way that is going to boost them, and praising our children can actually sometimes be harmful to them. So it may impact their self-esteem. So a lot of research has been done by a whole lot of different people. The one that sticks to me the most is the research by Carol Dweck, who did a lot of research on mindset and how children, we might go into that into another video, and she really researched about how children and adults can go into a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and how praise can impact that. So her research was directly linked to mindset and also a little bit to praising children and how to praise the children. And what she says, let me just read quickly a little quote that I found of hers, because what she says is, when children hear that they are great, that they are cool, that they're doing great things, and when you're praising directly the child, like what they unconsciously have in their mind is, oh, you think I'm brilliant and talented. That's why you admire me. That's why you value me. And I better not do anything now that will disprove your evaluation. Otherwise, you will no longer admire me, you will no longer value me. So it's just sort of this mindset that now if I make a mistake, you won't think I'm talented anymore. So this is why when we praise our children, it is very important that we do it in a way that will boost them up and not put them down. And there's different ways to do that. Obviously, it's just, as everything, we might not be great at it at first. It's just a matter of doing it little by little, and then we get better as we go. So I just thought I'd give you a few do's and don'ts when it comes to praising children, and so how to apply it with children. All of the tips that I'm going to give you today, I think there's 5, 6 of them or something like that, they apply to all children of all ages, even adults. You can use those with adults when you praise adults. It has the same effect. Except I would say there's one little exceptions would be for babies and toddlers, because babies and toddlers, they don't yet have a maturity and the thinking patterns to infer meaning to your praise. So most kids, very young kids, they just thrive on praise. I mean, you just sort of, they bring you every little crappy drawing that they make, and you're like, oh, that's so beautiful, and they boost, and they are so proud of it. So they really don't have these sort of thinking patterns that will that the praise will impact them in negative ways. So yeah, for young children, it's still quite okay to just praise them along and boost them along. And that actually has been shown in research to boost them into doing more. But once they get into the years, I would say like past toddler, 3, 4, 5 kind of years, they start sort of having different thinking patterns, and then it's better to start using those strategies, because they will get sort of some more meaning into what you are saying. They think more, they think past the words that you are saying. So tip number 1, just don't praise your kids all day long. But honestly, they don't need it. They don't need to hear how wonderful they are and how great they are all day long. And on the long run, it may be harmful to them. So rather sort of use praise with sort of a little bit of, I've got a French word coming to my mind here. Just sort of not doing it all the time and all along during the day, and just sort of use praise a little by little. Number 2, don't praise them for easy to do things. Kids are not stupid. They know exactly when they are doing something that is easy. For example, let's say they have to, I don't know, they are aiming a ball at a target, and they are reaching it every single time, but they are doing it sort of on purpose, easily, because they're just sort of next to the target or something. And if you come along and say, oh, wow, you're so good at that, I mean, look how you're doing this, they kind of know that it's an easy task, and so they'll either think that you're stupid for praising them for doing this, or worse, they will think that you think they're stupid because they can't sort of do any more difficult than that. So anytime there is something that is easy to do that they are achieving, you really don't need to be praising them for that. Number 3, just be sincere and honest every time in your praise. I was taking the example of a toddler bringing a drawing just now, and even if it's crappy, you kind of, it's like, wow, and they boost. When they start sort of thinking for themselves and having these thinking patterns, when you, like, if they bring a crappy drawing and you say, oh, wow, that's so beautiful, they will kind of, they will kind of start to question your praise, and they will, they are like, well, mom or dad, well, they always praise me, but yeah, that's it's not the greatest. So they know that inside. So whenever you praise a child, just do it in a really sincere way and be honest in what you're saying to them. If they bring you a drawing or any work that you don't really think is good, you don't have to sort of criticize it and put it down, but you don't have to sort of wow over it either. You can just say, oh, well, that's interesting. Well, tell me more. What were you trying to achieve? Or, like, being curious about it. Or you can try to think one thing in the drawing or whatever they brought to you that actually did resonate with you, or that you did like. And you can say, you know, oh, I really like how you used the colors here. Even if you don't like any other thing, but at least you are sincere in what you're praising them about. I mean, it's really coming from a place where you believe what you're telling them. It's not just, oh, wow, it's so great, just because they did it. Yeah. So, number 4, it's just, number 4 is just exactly what Sonia said earlier. It's don't praise the character traits. Don't praise the child themselves. Rather, just praise the action, praise the effort. You're so smart, you're so cool, you're so kind, you're so good at this. These are praise that goes directly at the child's identity, and it's like the Carol Dweck quote that I mentioned earlier. It's the children will, you know, they will integrate the praise. It's for themselves. So it's like, I'm so intelligent, so I must not do something that will make me feel not intelligent or make people believe I'm not intelligent. So it's kind of not a good thing for the self-esteem. Rather than boosting them up, that we think it is, it rather brings them down. So it's much better to say, you've worked so hard at this, rather than saying you're so kind. This was so kind of you. It's just a little change, but it makes a lot of a difference, because it's the action that is sort of targeted by our praise. And when we praise an action can always be changed. If we are intelligent, it's either we're intelligent or we're stupid. It's kind of this balance that is difficult for the, you know, like if we think that we are intelligent and it's us, in us, then it's difficult to change. Whereas if we know that what we did was intelligent, it's okay that what we did, which we do sometimes, is kind of stupid, because we can change that. It's an action. It's something outside of us that we have power to change. So when you say, I like how you did this, it's way different from saying you are this or you are that. Number 5, be very specific as much as you can and realistic in your praise also. Just saying, oh, good job, is very vague. So it's nice from time to time, but it's much better to say, well, you know, thank you so much for helping me carry all the water bottles today. That was, I mean, I really appreciated that. That was great from you. So just being very specific on what they are doing that you're liking, that is also nice. And realistic, because sometimes we get a little bit sort of over the top in our praise, and then children, like, you know, how can they live up to that if we are too over the top? So rather stay just very realistic and very specific in the way you praise children. And number 6, that's the last one, is avoid praising children in a situation that compares them to others. So obviously, when they do well in a competition, in a race, in an exam, I mean, in any situation where they are automatically compared to others anyway, and they do very well, you can praise them, but just don't do it in a way that will automatically compare them to the others or to themselves. So it's rather than saying, you know, oh, well done, you did so much better than everyone else. This is like directly comparing what they did with what the others did, or you did so much better than the last time. So same, it's comparing to what they already did and to themselves. It's much better to actually say, well done, Mommy's so proud of you. You've worked hard for this. You gave it your best shot. These are praise that are sort of not taking away the comparison to others and just bringing it back, to the action and to the things that they are doing or that led them to such a good result. So when you point out, what they did and the effort they put into there, they kind of have a reference afterwards to come back to this if they want to replicate what they achieved, for example. Yeah, so these were my 6 tips for praising children in a way that will help boost their self-esteem and their confidence. If you have any questions, as usual, you can ask them now, or you can, if I don't always see them, it seems, because last time when I checked back, that's when I saw the comments, but apparently they were put during the live, so I might test another platform next time to better see your comments. I sometimes do, and it seems that I sometimes don't. So, well, if you do have any questions, just pop them in the comments. If I see them, I'll just answer them right now, or I can come back and answer them later. That's absolutely fine. Just one little note, if you do this, obviously that's perfect and that's great. If you don't, that's okay, don't beat yourself over it. The aim here is to be conscious about it. And I mean, I know all this stuff, and I catch myself often just to fall into the trap and just to, oh, you're so great and that was so cool. And so, but the aim is to just be conscious about it and to try to think about sort of, okay, well, now I did this, I kind of know that it's not the greatest, so what could I have said instead? And then the next time, see if you can sort of change it. And the more you work at it, obviously, the easier it comes, and the sort of, the better you are at it. It's really like anything else. Yeah, so also before I stop, I wanted to announce that next week we are going to have our first guest speaker, and it is so very exciting. This is someone who has been working with children for the past 20 years, so he has a lot of experience with children, and he has agreed to come in the group and share with us his experience and his work. So we are going to have like a little interview in the group, and so if you have questions for him, I will, as usual, put a little post towards the end of the week with a topic. His topic is going to be his very hot topic, and I'm sure a lot of moms and parents will relate to that. So he's going to talk about how to get your child to do what they don't want to do and thank you for it. So, for example, if they don't want to do homework, or if they don't want to do their bed, or if they don't want to clean their room, and you really want them to do that, but they still don't want to, so he's going to help out with that and give you a whole lot of tips about it. So, yeah, watch for that post. Okay, I've got a comment from Ninke. Hi, Ninke, nice to see you here. So I don't see all your comments. Let me see if I can see it here on the iPad. So you say, sometimes I feel like they did a very good work, trying very hard, especially at school, work where he is struggling. I then mention it again the day after breakfast. So I would say, but I don't have an end of your comment here. That's the trouble with phones. So let me try and see if I can see your whole comment in here, and I can answer that to you. Just give me 2 minutes. I missed your first comment too. So I would say, hey, I'm really proud of how hard you worked yesterday. I know it wasn't easy, but you kept working till the end and did great. How do you feel about that? Would that be too much praising? I feel like I'm giving him good feel about his work before starting the day and hope. Yes, that would be great, because you are focusing on the effort he put in on there. As I said in my first very tip, you don't have to do it all the time. I mean, children don't need to be praised and reminded all the time. But yeah, like when he starts his day, is perfect. It's this little boost to the day. You tried very hard. You did your best. That's perfect, because it's focusing on the action rather than on the child himself. Yeah, and I think that's the most important, to just sort of give them a little boost, like every once in a while, but in a way that they can sort of know how to have an impact on it too. Yeah. Super. You're welcome, Nienke. Yeah. And but as I said, also just be sure that it's something that we really worked hard on, and sort of just to be sincere and honest about it also, and not that they think that it was an easy task, but they kind of, because then it would defeat the purpose. But most of the time, yeah, we kind of know that they put their heart into it, so that's great. Okay, so I'm going to leave you now and let you have a super great day. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the group during the week, and then I'll see you next time with my guest speaker for our live next week. Bye. Have a great day.